Hello everyone, and welcome to Turning Point, a virtual conversation about pivotal moments for individuals in the ag biological space, sponsored by our friends at TerraSim. I'm your host, Rhiannon Branch with Brownfield Ag News, and joining me today are the co-founders of Xceleration Ag. Let's go ahead and kick things off with some introductions, a little bit about each of you, your farms, and your role with Xceleration Ag. Blake, I'll let you start us off.
Hello, I'm Blake Jones, co-founder of Xceleration Ag. I'm also a third generation farmer. My grandpa Charlie and I, along with others in the family, produce corn and soybeans. On our family farm, we're in Southeast Illinois. We do many on-farm trials for personal data, as well as data for New Leaf Symbiotics, Pivot Bio, Indigo, and others as well.
Perfect. Jake?
Hi, I'm Jake Holt, co-founder of Xceleration Ag, also a third generation farmer in Southeast Illinois as well, Flat Rock, Illinois. We do mainly row crops, corn and soybeans, a little bit of wheat, and I've also been in the seed business for 14 years.
And George?
Hello, I'm George Harris. I'm a seed dealer and fourth gen farmer with my dad and brother in Clay City, Illinois. Also co-founder of Xceleration Ag. Just celebrating my 20th year in ag business sales.
Very cool. Well, let's start things off here with, just a little bit about what is Xceleration Ag. And Blake, I'll let you take that one for us.
So Xceleration Ag is what we consider to be a new age ag retailer. We were founded in September of 2019. We're located in Southern Illinois, like I said, servicing roughly 30 counties in Southern Illinois and Southern Indiana. We bring forth a variety of products and service to our customers, such as liquid fertilizers, seed treatment, chemicals, and nutritionals. I would say our main focus as a company is biologicals, such as like New Leaf with TerraSim, Pivot Bio, and then Indigo as well. Our mission is to provide products and service that can change the landscape of agriculture in a more efficient way.
Jake, can you kind of give us maybe a little bit of the story of Xceleration Ag and how you guys got started?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Blake said, we founded Xceleration Ag in 2019. The three of us, we were all in the same boat. We're all farmers first. We've all been in ag retail for well over a decade, in George's case, 2 decades. And we were just tired of the same old. It just felt like we wanted to be progressive, but doing the same thing that Grandpa did wasn't getting us where we needed to be. And we were on our way to a little cafe over by St. Louis to meet up with Ryan Walker from Evolution Ag to talk about crop protection. And that's whenever we talked to him about New Leaf Symbiotics, Pivot Bio, some of these new biological companies. And it was that day that we came up with Xceleration Ag, and within a week we had an LLC started.
George, Jake kind of gave us a rundown of the timeline, but kind of looking back on how you guys got started, what would you say maybe stands out as a significant turning point for this company?
I would say it's probably truthfully when we started Xceleration Ag that day. We was asking other companies questions previous to that for our own farms and wasn't getting the answers we was really looking for. And so we just kind of jumped in both feet and started Xceleration Ag. And we've really built a really solid business structure off mainly the biologicals.
So each of you guys are farmers and, of course, having some experience in business now as well. When I talk to folks about biologicals, they can usually recall maybe their own type of turning point where they started to accept biological technology or started to implement that. And I'm sure that's a little bit different for each of you on your own farms. So I'll let you each kind of go ahead and tell us what that turning point might have been for you. And we'll go back and let Blake share.
I would say what sticks out the most in my mind for us as a company. So would be George and I went down to a pivot plot. This is the first time that we'd seen Pivot Bio down at Brian Tom's farm south of us a ways. And George and I had walked out in the field and had actually found the split of where the check was before Brian was even able to point it out to us. The sheer difference in plant health and ear size was just amazing. I couldn't really believe it, but that was a turning point for us as a company. As far as on my farm, I would say the turning point was when my grandpa Charlie was starting to see the benefits in our own fields from using TerraSym and Pivot Bio and other biologicals. I just kind of feel like when someone that is more old school, say like my grandpa, starts to get excited and see some results from something like biologicals, that says a lot.
Jake?
I would say the turning point for me was probably about 3 years ago. We made an effort on our farm to try to get away from using so much synthetic fertilizer, and we went really heavy with turkey manure, and biologicals really go hand in hand really with that practice, trying to improve the soil health. We farm a lot of very light chalky soils, low CECs, low organic matter, and so we wanted to try to build those, build that back up as much as we could and get away from so much synthetic fertilizer. I would say a big turning point for us on our own personal farm was whenever that first year we dipped our toe in trying some of the products like TerraSym 401 with soybeans, and just seeing the emergence. I mean, they were out of the ground 3 days faster than the check next to them. The only difference was the TerraSym 401. And it equated to quite a bit of a yield difference as well. And products like Pivot Bio on these low CEC soils, having that season long nitrogen, and getting away from using so much synthetic nitrogen really helped.
George, a turning point with biologicals for you?
On our farm, we've been minimal till and no till for considerably long time, over 25 years, if we can help it, on every acre. We've noticed that the biologicals have actually helped us get a lot more even stands, unlock a lot more potential in those areas. And then, as a business wise, we run all these trials on our personal farms first before we even launch them onto our customers' farms. And we've seen a lot of the same results.
Very good. Well, I had the pleasure of talking to Blake earlier in the year when TerraSym sponsored one of our Managing for Profit programs. And the title of that was how ag extras are no longer considered extra. Blake, can you kind of look back and touch on what we talked about there, and from your perspective, why biologicals are no longer just an extra?
Yeah, so we feel as if we need to look for new and improved ways to increase production per acre through using these so-called extras. We don't believe extras should be considered extras anymore simply because of what they bring to the table. They're just as pivotal, we believe, as the so-called needed products because of the potential they bring. That's the way we look at it.
Jake, I'm going to send this one your way. You guys have been in business for a couple of years now. In the middle of a pandemic, working through that, a couple of interesting crop years for everybody. What has the Xceleration Ag journey with biologicals been like since you guys got started?
It's been amazing. Like George said earlier, we were kind of skeptical at first. We like to try everything on our own farm before we go out and advertise it. And it's really been mind-boggling, the response we've got. It's blown up. We've after year 2, we were surpassed our 5-year goal. So it's really been amazing. We like to go to farms, and growers like to talk about what they do. Their farmers are they're a proud generation. They're very proud of what they do, as they should be. We're feeding the world, and we like to listen. And it doesn't matter what you're doing on your farm. Biologicals has a place to help, and it's just been a really good response, even from the older generation. Seeing them get excited, and getting them to dip their toe in some of this new technology and get away from what they've been doing for the last 50 years.
Jake, this might be a good time to go ahead and, mention some of the products that you guys work with and, some of the results you're seeing from that.
Yeah. So we are very big into new leaf symbiotics. We've seen some great responses with Terrasym 401 and Terrasym 450 for corn. We basically include it in, it's just our go-to seed treatment now. It's not, guys don't even ask if it's an option. It's just part of it. It's just included. And from Pivot Bio, like I said, in our neck of the woods in Southern Illinois, we have a lot of low CEC soils. So we're constantly fighting leaching, and having that season-long nitrogen has really given guys good responses. It doesn't seem like we have these, 3/4 inch or an inch rains like we did whenever Grandpa was farming. We get 4 inches in an hour and a half, and everything washes down the ditch. So that's a problem that we've been fighting, and I think with some of these biologicals, it's how we can combat it.
George, I'll send this one your direction. Do you feel like biologicals are a turning point in the agriculture industry?
Yeah, I really do. I feel like the products from like New Leaf Symbiotics and Pivot Bio have helped us in our lighter soils, so to speak. We've kind of closed the distance between us and, say, Central Illinois yields considerably in the last few years. And I think biologicals have done a major part of that. Another thing is biologicals have kind of got us out of that 60, 70-year rut of doing the same thing, relying on the synthetic NP and Ks. And maybe this can help unlock some new potential.
I want to focus on a couple of questions, maybe looking forward for this biological space. And George, I'll let you pick this back up. But for those who are considering biologicals but haven't necessarily reached their own turning point yet, and fully believing in them or using them on their farm, what advice do you have for them?
Just come to the table with an open mind. Let us show you the way. Let you get some trials to start on your own farm, so you can kind of dip your toes in the water with that. And then, really it's just about being willing to change. It can be mind-boggling for some of these guys, but if they just give us a chance to show them what we have to bring to the table, could be interesting.
George, any suggestions on where farmers in that situation can kind of get started?
Truthfully, just getting with us, and we can kind of feel how their farming practices are, because not every farm is built the same, not every farm runs the same. So we kind of do a farm by farm analysis on that.
All right, Jake, we'll head your direction. What do you see for the future of ag biologicals for your company, specifically for Xceleration Ag?
With Xceleration Ag, we just want to keep an open mind, practice what you preach. We want to continue to learn. You need to learn something new every day. It's a good day. So we want to practice what we tell our customers, keep an open mind, and let's utilize the new technology that we have. That's every year we're coming out with new technologies, and we need to start utilizing that. And it'll be a good way to be good stewards of the soil. They're not making any more of it, so we have to We have to do, we're losing ground every day to infrastructure. So we have to be better at raising more crops with the limited amount of ground that we have. I think biologicals are going to play a big role in that, and unleashing more potential in the soils that we have.
Jake, earlier you mentioned kind of reaching some of those longer term goals maybe quicker than you guys expected to. Do you, have anything to share in terms of what your goals are moving forward in the next few years, or what more we can expect from Xceleration Ag?
I mean, our goal as a company is just to we want to bring the most ROI to the grower at the least amount of cost. I mean, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a business. I mean, everybody's feeding their families, and if we're not making them a return on their investment, then we're not doing our job. So that's our goal as a company, is to help these growers utilize the new technology, and to bring a good ROI to the table, and to help improve their soil, and the soil is a living ecosystem. We need to try to treat it like one. The healthier the soil, the better crop you're going to raise.
Blake, I'm going to ask you the same question, just kind of on a broader scale. What do you see, or what would you like to see for the future of biologicals for the entire ag industry in general?
So, I mean, I think we're already seeing a trend in the biological direction. I see there being some biologicals coming down the pipe probably that are going to be more, I mean, they're going to control insects, weeds, fungus. They're going to be more broad spectrum. You're not just going to see, broad spectrum uptake biologicals. But I also think you're going to see those broad spectrum people maybe narrow down those nutrition biologicals a little bit, which in the end will help us keep replacing more and more synthetic. One thing I'd like to see a little bit more is education, whether that be on the grower level, or the retailer level, or just anyone for that matter. I feel like we don't have the knowledge that people need to know what and where biologicals come from, what they're capable of.
Well, guys, this series has kind of run through harvest. We started at the beginning and went all the way through, and now hopefully everybody's out of the fields and planning for 2022. I think it'd be a good time to kind of recap that 2021 growing season, maybe what that looked like on your farm, for the company too, and maybe how biologicals helped play a part in the 2021 season for each of you. And like I said, I'll let you each comment on that. We can go back and let George start.
We had a record, I would say record corn and wheat crop. Our soybeans was, if they weren't a record, we're right close to it. We had a lot of heavy precipitation in our area right there during bean podding and pod set time. So in the reproduction stage. So we may have got dinged on the flat ground a little bit on that, but it was still a really good bean crop. As far as Xceleration Ag, we've hit a milestone in pretty much year 2 that we was looking to hit year 6 or 7. So we, through a COVID pandemic and everything, have really been blessed with what we've accomplished. So it's been a great year.
Jake?
Yeah, we had record yields, corn and soybeans both on our farm. We were fortunate enough we were kind of in a garden spot. We never really got too hot and dry like we normally do in August. Had good rainfall all the way through the end of August. Now that being said, we did have an excessive amount of rain. I mean, which on our light clay soils we're always a week away from a drought. So I really do think that the products like the Terrasum and the Pivot Bio played a huge role in helping these the corn uptake nitrogen. And early on, I mentioned earlier about the Terrasum 401 on soybeans with the emergence. I started planting soybeans on April 4th and 5th, and they actually got snowed on before they're out of the ground. So I think if it wasn't for utilizing some of these new technologies that we have, then I would have been replanting a heck of a lot of soybeans. And fortunately, I didn't have to do that.
Blake, a 2021 growing season recap for you?
Within the company, 21 as a whole is a great year. I mean, we can't complain. It was good for us, and I believe it was just as good for our customers. We saw a big upswing in the use of biologicals by our customers. And as a whole, I believe everyone was really pleased with performance. Most guys, like I said, I had seen record yields this year. So as far as personal farm, we had a great year, setting many records with corn. And like George said, our beans were really good. I'm not complaining by any means. They just weren't maybe some of the best we've had. Like I said previously, we do a lot of on-farm trials, so it's nice to see localized data and be able to pass that along to our customers as well as the company that produces the product. I know that Mother Nature had a major part in our yields this year, but I also attribute a lot of that to the biologicals we used. I mean, I think they played a big role.
Well, guys, I really appreciate your time today and being able to share your stories with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? I'll give you each a chance for just some final remarks before we close things out. Jake, you want to start?
Yeah, I would just say for anybody that's not using biologicals or that's a little skeptical, there's, always the old phrase, oh, that's just a snake oil. I would just try to keep an open mind and give us 30 minutes of your time. Usually, if we get on a farm, even with some of these guys, that's been a hard sell in the past that we've known from the seed business. We're there for 2 to 3 hours. I mean, it's never a 30-minute conversation. Once you get to picking guys' brains and, just talking about their operation and how some of these biologicals could fit, it turns into a really fun conversation, and guys are really receptive to it.
Blake?
I would just say, coming off Jake's stuff, the way we're looking at it this year is we're really gonna look at maybe using these biologicals to replace some of those input prices. We're gonna do lots of stacking of bios and try to, utilize some of the nutrition that's in the ground that we're not getting from these synthetics and stuff, and maybe help mitigate some of that cost of the synthetics.
George, you want to round us out?
Yeah, I'll just say that we'd like the chance to talk to about anybody about this because it's such a new trend. I hate to use the word trend, but that's kind of where we're at right now. It's still kind of a trend, but we're making it not a trend. So if you're curious to see what we're doing or what we got going on, how to get a hold of us, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, or Facebook. And our hashtag, it's at Xceleration Ag is our handles for each one of them.
Perfect. Well, that wraps up our final episode of Turning Point. I want to thank all of our guests throughout the series for sharing their stories and expert advice. All of these episodes, including this one, are available to view on demand at brownfieldagnews.com. We also want to send a big thank you to New Leaf Symbiotics and their TerraSym brand for sponsoring this series. I encourage you all to visit TerraSym2022.com to view the newest 2021 yield data from Beck's Hybrids Practical Farm Research Trials. You can also go there to look into buying TerraSym online via their new e-commerce store. So thank you all for watching Turning Point on Brownfield.